Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3 of Krusty Canuck. Today's episode will be It's Okay to Be You. We'll be discussing the whole myth of racism and sexism and all the other verbal garbage that has been plaguing us this week. All that and more coming up on Krusty Canuck. Hello, folks. I'm your host, Krusty Canuck. This is episode 3. It's okay to be you. And exactly, that's what it is. It's okay to be you. This week in our news, in Canadian news, Miss Chrystia Freeland, our beautiful Foreign Affairs Minister, having the audacity sitting in the UN saying we have to get rid of all this Nazism and Islamophobia. Okay, as far as I know, there haven't been any full-fledged Nazis in this country that have actually advertised themselves as being Nazis since the early 1990s. And before that, there was pre-World War II, during World War II, and sometime in the 50s. Now, when I hear these politicians ranting and raving about who's a Nazi and who's a racist, it's all just scapegoating, folks. I've had a few trolls come on my profile in Facebook and on YouTube and pointing fingers, saying the magical word fascist. Oh, you're not a patriot, you're a nationalist, you're getting the two confused. And I've been accused of having male white privilege. Interesting. I guess going to school and trying to build this podcast from the ground up at my expense with the assistance of a few friends and the assistance of my wife, I guess that means I have privilege. Wrong. Everything I have done in my life, I've had some help from people, verbal help, coaching, mentoring, but everything else that I have accomplished, I basically did with my 2 feet, my 2 hands, and my brain, and my heart and my passion. And when someone points at me and says, I have white privilege, I would like for you to explain what exactly is white privilege. What is black privilege? What is brown privilege? What is Asian privilege? What is that kind of privilege you're referring to? I've seen college applications, I've seen job applications where the first things they ask you is your gender and your background. I see. What does that have to do with any job? I can understand in certain aspects of physical limitations if you're male or female, but what does my background have to do with becoming a member of the military or working in any kind of government job for that matter? Or if I apply to college, or if I apply to university, or if I do anything extracurricular, or part-time slinging coffee or beer. What does it matter? So when someone says to me, oh, you have privilege, explain to me what privilege is I have that you don't. Okay? I challenge any listener out there to either email me at krustybcanuck67@gmail.com or leave a comment on my YouTube page, or you can reach me through here at Podbean and explain this whole concept of white privilege that I have. And while you're doing that, I'd like you to explain to me what rights I have that you don't have in the process too. Okay? It's okay to be yourself, folks. I've said numerous times in my videos and in my last podcasts, it doesn't matter what color you are. I don't judge anybody based on the color of their skin or their gender or their identity. That's debatable, but I don't judge anybody, and I judge people on their initial actions. I call these Antifa clowns who sit there and talk about equality, and yet they want equality on their terms, not the actual term of equality. Right? I'm open to many things, but I'm not open to the intolerant nor am I open to blatant racial divide, especially when somebody says, "Oh, you have male white privilege." Explain it to me. Feel free to leave me a comment and explain it to me in the process. You know, what privileges and rights I have that you don't have. Right? I had some clown on one of my YouTube pages tell me, "Oh, you don't understand the strife and what it takes for someone to move from another country and to set up a life, and what kind of problems people have when they try to immigrate." And I can imagine how difficult it is for some people when they immigrate from one country to the next, and a whole new upheaval and a whole new life. And maybe I'm lucky. Maybe that's the privilege you're referring to, that I grew up in a country where we don't have that kind of religious strife or any kind of segregation or any kind of famine or internal combustion within our politics or dictatorships. But our politicians really don't want to see it that way. As I mentioned, Ms. Freeland and her UN ranting, I'll leave links at the bottom of the page. Of course, a lot of it's just all a virtue signal. It has nothing to do with actually governing the Canadian people. Just trying to look good and ghost hunting. Really. I have seen racism growing up, and it's quite appalling. I'll save that story for another time. But I wasn't raised in a household where you judge anybody. Like, you judge one's character. And that's something my mother and my father really instilled into me, and I will instill that into other people too. I've never judged anybody based on their skin or their gender. Right? And I am thankful for the things I have, and I'm thankful for the woman I've married, and I'm thankful for the home I live in. And that took a lot of work. So when someone says male white privilege, to me it's just a way of saying, well, you're this and I'm entitled to what you have. No, you're not. We live in a country, and I'm talking Canada here, ladies and gentlemen, and America, to my American listeners out there, that any man or any woman can pursue anything they want to. They might have to work extra hard here. They might have to work extra hard there. In some cases, they may not have to work as hard. But the opportunities are there. Period. There's no black and white. There's no pink or purple or different color or different divide. The only divide that I am seeing is elected officials, especially here in Canada on the Liberal and the NDP side of things, pinpointing and telling us exactly, oh, well, we're this and we're that, especially when it comes to the social aspect of this nation. And as I said, the title is "It's Okay to Be You." This is in rebuttal when people are putting signs up saying it's okay to be white. It is. It's okay to be white. It's okay to be brown. It's okay to be black. It's okay to be pink, purple. It's okay to be red. It's okay to be yellow. It's okay to be you. Period. And so-called educated officials weighing in saying, "Oh, this is so racist." Nothing racist about saying it's okay to be something. If it's okay to be a grown man who identifies as a 6-year-old child, and if it's okay for a man to wear a wig and call himself a woman, and then turn around and sue somebody for being misgendered, and then it's okay for a woman to call herself a man, then yeah, it's okay to be white. It's okay to be who you are, period. I'm not going to judge you. Why should I? I was raised better than that. A lot of my friends were raised better than that. A lot of people in my circle, people I've grown up with, people I played hockey with, people I coached, people I served with, people I fought with against the Taliban. We never had any racial division. We never had any segregation in that regard. So for the bleeding hearts out there who constantly say, "Oh, well, because of this male privilege and because of all this finger pointing and race baiting," enough already. Grow up. Okay? There's not racism behind every tree. There's not Nazis in every corner. You're buying into the hype. You're buying into the paranoia. My grandparents fought real Nazis. real fascists. They fought them in Holland, and they fought them in France. They fought the real evil. I recently found out I have another distant relative that was in the Korean War who fought against real communists. So for you hammer and sickle aficionados out there with your red state and proletariat, don't say I didn't warn you. Right? And you come to this whole conclusion that, every white person's bad and everyone else is oppressed. Who do you think is going to impress you most if any of these commies and strong socialists ever get in charge? Now, I'm not against socialized medicine. I'm not against anybody who needs help medically. But think about that. All you socialist wannabes and commies out there, I highly suggest you get a conversation going with someone who lived in Soviet Russia and someone who escaped from China during the Tiananmen Square incident. And they'll tell you exactly what the Communist Manifesto really is. Right? See, in that system, it's not okay to be yourself. You have to be something for the state. And you have to be productive for the state, quote unquote. So when you don't measure up or live up to the status for the state, then you get sent away or you get punished, right? So that's my spiel on that. But back to the title, It's Okay to Be You. It's okay to be you. I don't care what color you are. It's okay to be white. It's okay to be black. It's okay to be brown. It's okay to be mulatto. It's okay to be half Asian. It's okay to be half Indian. It's okay to be half white, half black. It's okay to be yourself. Right? I'm going to look at you and treat you like a person. I don't care if you're black or brown or white or Asian. If you're a man, I'm going to treat you like a man. If you're a woman, I'm going to treat you like a woman. If you can't decide, well, I'm still going to treat you like an adult. Period. But let's get rid of this race-baiting BS and this dilemma. Enough of this. And we should be demanding more from our leaders and our politicians when it comes to catering to this crap. My best friend's First Nations. He plays a mean guitar. And he's got a beautiful spirit and a great soul. And he doesn't address me as whitey. We crack jokes to each other once in a while, but he doesn't judge me based on the color of my skin. He judges me on my character. And I judge him the same way. He's a good man. And I've met some of his circle, and they're great people. Why? Because they choose to be. If you choose to be a good person, it doesn't matter what color you are. If you choose to be a liberal, it doesn't matter what color you are. If you choose to be a conservative, it doesn't matter what color you are. NDP, a Libertarian, People's Party of Canada, it doesn't matter what color you are. How are you as a man? How are you as a woman? How are you as an adult? That is what matters. So, enough of me rambling on about the racial divide. The moment someone says to me, oh, you have white privilege, as far as I'm concerned, the conversation's over. If you can prove to me, okay, regardless of what history has said, yeah, I know history has been terrible when it comes to racial divides. But that wasn't my time. That wasn't your time. Maybe a small fraction of our parents' time. But as I mentioned before, my father was a firefighter. He didn't cater to that racist BS. He did his job. He saved whomever. He did whatever to save people's lives. And he didn't stop and worry about what color somebody was. He just knew he had to do what he had to do. And so when you get people 20 plus, 25 or 30 years old, saying that everybody was so bigoted back then. Well, yeah, there was some bigotry, but there was bigotry on both aspects, not just on the white person side. Right? So enough of this racial divide, ladies and gentlemen. Let's carry on with some real progress here. Let's carry on with some real identity of this country. Right? There's nothing racist about waving the flag. Nothing prejudiced about loving your history and learning from your history. Nothing bigoted about wanting a unity through all peoples, right? Doesn't matter if you're English, French. Doesn't matter if you speak Polish or Hindi. It doesn't matter if you speak Farsi or Pashto, Cantonese, Szechuan, Korean, Cree. It doesn't matter. We're all here together. We all want our clean water. We want our First Nations to be successful. I want them to be successful. I want all Canadians to find success and happiness and prosperity. I also want that happiness, success, and prosperity to be defended, to be respected. I want to see people get ahead. I want to see students graduate. I want to see people finding jobs in their successful fields, in their chosen fields. I want to see people get ahead. I want to see kids laugh. I want to hear kids be kids without all this neo-Marxist, postmodernist BS being rammed down their throats. Right? I want gun owners to be happy. I want non-gun owners to be happy. Well, I'm not screaming here for utopia, but I'm screaming for reality here. It's okay to be you, folks. Right? It doesn't matter where you're from. You come to Canada, contribute something. Doesn't matter what color you are. Like I have mentioned before, I've worked for many walks of life. I've worked for Italians. I've worked for Greeks. I've worked for Asians. I've worked for, what was his name? He was from Panama. I did a job for him landscaping. Great man. I worked for a man from Denmark. I have had many a job where I've worked for different cultures. One of my section commanders was right from France. Another one of my section commanders was Acadian. He spoke French, he spoke English, and I think he spoke some native dialect too. I'm not sure. But he was well adverse and well diverse in many things. So, and I've had the opportunity of actually serving with a lot of people from all walks of life. One man from Peru, another man from Jamaica, another fella from Britain, a few lads from France, a couple of guys from Australia. I played soccer with numerous English and Scottish and Irish alike. So, yeah, my life has been very diverse in the field of sport, and especially in the field of military service. So, when anybody out there would like to debate me on this whole white privilege thing, feel free to give me a comment on YouTube. You can find me there, YouTube, Krusty Canuck. You can also contact me on my webpage, www.krustycanuck.ca, or here in Podbean, the Krusty Canuck podcast. Many times I've had a few trolls, I would say. I wouldn't call them actual intellects who want to talk. I'm basically just shit disturbers, just stirring the pot. But feel free. I like to see and hear what some individuals have to say about so-called white privilege. Because I've had to work for everything in my life, ladies and gentlemen. I might have had a couple of breaks when I was struggling. And there have been some times where I've had to struggle. But it starts with the individual pulling his or her pants up. And the old English adage, stiff upper lip, chin up, carry on. And that's what I did. And I'm here today because of some advice I have from some great people. Right? But growing up, I don't think I've had any kind of white privilege. I never put a color to it. There's always been the haves and the have-nots, but I've seen the have-nots become the have-ees because of hard work, because of loyalty and commitment, desire, drive, and passion. And nothing was handed to them. So, if anyone can tell me exactly what this whole privilege is and explain to me what rights I have that they don't, feel free. Please comment. I'd like to get the conversation going. Let me know. But be prepared for me to stand my ground too. I'm not gonna tolerate any kind of BS or hearsay or trendy buzzword. Explain to me how this privilege works, and I'll gladly sit and listen. But the moment you start getting racial with me, conversation's over. I'm not going to tolerate it. Right? Anyhow, that's my spiel for tonight. Anyway, on this beautiful March 29th, 2019. I hope you enjoyed my little rant here. I've been Krusty Canuck, and hopefully tune in when you can. I'm trying to make a bigger broadcast. Hopefully I might be hiring somebody later on in the near future. And we'll be doing like a web video / podcast without trying to copy anybody or mimic anybody. But that's in the future. But for now, take care of yourselves. Love each other. And I've been Krusty Canuck. And remember, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care.